way to grow is by acquisition. If we really want to grow and make quantum growth, this is the best way. Even though, thank God, we're seeing increased sales every year, we want to go even higher. Our goal is to accumulate a few companies. We want to reach, as soon as humanly possible, a cap value of $1 billion. We need to accumulate about $200 or $150 million of revenue, and then to go public to reach that goal. And this is the first, basically the second step after I already have my basis in the seed company. Although it's a smaller acquisition, there are other players in the industry which are doing $150 or $30 million. This is a company which is currently in the past 2 years, 24 months, has been selling $7 million revenue of sales a year with the EBITDA of $700,000. This is a seed company which is selling 50% of their sales are online via Amazon and their own company website, and the 50% from catalog. That means people are either calling up the company, ordering their orders, and giving a credit card online. It's all cash payment, or mailing in a check with their order, or faxing with their credit card and everything like that. Because there's an industry where you have people who are baby boomers and a little older, and they're customers, and they're not buying via Amazon yet. Although this is going up. We're trying to drive as much traffic to our website, so we save the 15%, which is going off the top to Amazon.
And what are they using seeds for?
This is the home gardening business. In the United States, you have about 40 million households which have their own garden, anywhere from about 700 square feet, and the sky is the limit, where they're growing their own produce. There's also a very big movement now of farm to table, it's called. It's a new trend where people want to know where the food is being sourced and who's supplying it, all the way to the seed producer, farmer, etc. There are restaurants which they show the menu and where everything is sourced from. Even have food trucks, a lot of them in California, which are part of this trend, and they're making very trendy food. And on the side, they also say, okay, this is from this farm, which is 5 miles away. So these small farms are buying from companies like us, because the big companies like Syngenta and Monsanto are totally out of the question for this market, for the home gardening and these farm-to-table guys. The farm-to-table could also be a farm of 10 acres or 20 acres, which could be much bigger than the regular home garden, but those companies are off their chart because they claim that they're doing GMO and they're non-GMO. The secret of this trade is that in vegetable seeds, there really isn't any GMO action. It's mainly in wheat, corn, soy, national security crops. Nobody's getting excited about a variety tomato, and they're going to invest $20 million to make a GMO seed for tomato. But we take advantage of this, and we signed the non-NGO commitment, even though there's no GMO in this, but that's what the consumers want. And you write vegan at the bottom, even though it's a vegetable, they got to see that. So it's a very big market right now in the United States. People are home growing. If the economy goes down, that's better for us because people want to grow more of their own produce. You can see that a lot of women now are going hunting, single moms. The amount of gun sales to single moms now who want to go hunting to harvest their own meat and save money. So if the economy goes down, we're not affected. On the contrary, we'll probably see increased sales because people will want to growing more of their own produce. That's what this industry saw over the past 30 years when there were dips in the economy. This actually people looking more to their own land to harvest their own food. So as I said, there are 40 million households in the United States, plus another 25,000 farm-to-table farms, and this is a growing trend. So this is what we're doing now. There are about 15 players in this market in the United States in the vegetable segment. Then you have a bunch of others who are in fruit, flowers, etc. A lot of them complement each other. For example, we could roll up more seed companies. We could also do flowers, because flowers, the reason why they complement is a lot of these customers need to attract bees to do the pollination and do the crossing between to get the things blooming. So this is something we could also sell the flower seeds on this site and take everything vice versa. The web platform that they have is very good. It's working. We see a lot of upside. With our international expertise, we can have people outside of the United States working on driving more traffic at very attractable prices. We won't have to be paying USA wages. We could pay lower wages in different countries. This platform can be taken to a lot of other places. Russia, for example, is a very big home garden market. They have something called a dacha, which for hundreds of years people go in the summer to these houses, which are anywhere from 600 square feet gardens and up, and they spend the whole summer there growing and connecting to the land, and it's all part of their culture, connecting to the earth and growing their kids that way, etc. So the amount of professional companies in these markets are very low, and this is a low ticket item. So if you go to a person who's making $400 a month and you tell them, here, buy $10 worth of seeds, it's within their budget. So we're not trying to push a product which would be it's a premium product which we could get in even to that lower income compared to the United States market. So the numbers over here, we have a company selling for $7 million a year. The EBITDA currently is $700,000. The two main owners who own 70%, 35% each, are taking about a combined $400,000 a year of the company for a salary. The other 30% are angel investors, which helped them start the business 20 years ago in their garage in Denver, Colorado. According to Colorado state corporate law, once you have the biggest chunk of stock, you have control of the company. So we wouldn't necessarily need 51%. We need it to be the major group. It's a husband and wife team. They just got divorced about a year and a half ago. The wife wants to get totally out of the business and restart her life. And the husband hasn't made up his mind yet. And as I said, there are a bunch of other angel investors, which a lot of them, it's a second generation who inherited their share, and they already passed on. So what we're looking to propose is to the husband, who we're taking a scenario where he would want to stay on. We would offer him a proposal where we would buy 60% of his stock, and the 40% of the remainder, he would have a choice of either being paid over time or alternatively getting doing a stock swap in the parent company for the United States. The wife wants to get out as soon as possible, so we're going on a scenario of she's going to want as much cash possible and to get out as soon as possible. So if we have every 35% of the EBITDA, we're currently giving a valuation of 3.5 times EBITDA to the company. Banks would probably go up to about 5.56 times EBITDA in this industry because it's mixed online sales and agriculture. So you could ride both themes and use it to your advantage. So the 35% chunk would be $735,000. And if we would do owner's finance on that, it would come out to $441,000 would be 60% of the 35%. So we're looking at a total cash value of $1,176,000. The salary that they're taking out, we're going to leave it on the balance sheet because we're going to have to replace these two people, especially the wife who wants to leave as soon as possible. So we're going to have to bring somebody in instead of them. The land is owned by the owners and a separate entity. They have a separate entity which owns the land, and if they're not paying rent to themselves, this warehouse is going to have to be included in the sale because we would have to include rent, which would affect the EBITDA and the feasibility of the deal. So the wife would look at we need a combined of $1,176,000 cash. So it's around 50% of borrowed money. So our biggest hurdle with the bank is to get past the equity, which is going to be injected via the alternative deferred equity to the owners, and any deferred payments which we're making. So we have a free cash flow after taxes, 20% federal and another 5% state. We have a free cash flow of $525,000, and then we would do the rest of debt. So that's how we see the company. We would look at a 5-year loan, 5-year loan on this, 50% pay over time and a 50% balloon at the end. This company is very underfinanced. They only have a line of credit of about $100,000, and we
LOC,
we're gonna go for 10% unrestricted line of credit, which would be $700,000. That's about 10% of the top line revenue, and they only have that very low debt. They don't have any employee contracts with anybody. So if we would want to make any improvements, lay off any non-producing staff, it would be relatively easy at a cheap price. The agreements which they have with their existing shareholders are basically worthless pieces of paper. So we're not committed to any sort of formula of how to give out dividends or how to allocate profits when we decide to split the cake between them. Our biggest hurdle over here is getting the emotional side of she leaving the company and realizing that her value of what she's been doing for the past 20 years is worth $735 pre-tax, not the millions that she might have thought of.
When you say might have thought of this, has she alluded to the fact she thinks it's worth a bunch of millions?
Well, my experiences, most people, when they start speaking about selling their company, she's at the beginning stage. She hasn't really gone through this. This hasn't been on the market for so long. She's not in the grief stage yet. Exactly. I was the one who went to her, and then she said, wow, I was thinking of it, and I never really did anything with selling out, but now that he come and I'm divorced and I don't like seeing him every day, it would be a good idea for me to considering divesting a portion of my assets. But my experiences with all these people, even people who've been approached in the past with private equity, they always think that their pony is the most beautiful, slick piece of shit. That's why they don't sell. Yeah, exactly. So this is the story. As I said, this is a step in part of a big picture, a much bigger plan, which we see the potential for substantial growth to make a nice holding company, which will have substantial revenue, healthy profit, which can be taken public, or alternatively, selling up isn't that much of an option, because if we would sell up to Monsanto or Syngenta, it would basically kill the business because people wouldn't buy. So our exit option over here is really an IPO, and with the numbers that we want to get to, it's very viable, and especially now when the bear market is over, we're going to have a lot of choices between investment banks to work with, and really have them chasing us, even though it's a relatively small deal. A lot of the deals have been going to committees in the past 10 years. At least 30% of them are going to be knocked off the committee table because of the hike in interest rate, the end of the bear market. A lot of companies who thought they were, waiting for the IPO and waiting, they won't go to the market right now. And we're not really concerned that much with stock price. We want to use the capital markets as a way for continued growth internationally. So even if the market is down now, we're not going to let that stop us, and it shouldn't stop us. So it looks like a relatively small deal, but as we see you as the bank, we could be knocking off transactions This is the smallest every 2 months, and our top line, the biggest transactions would be for companies selling $150 million. So we really want to set terms with you guys and have something pre-negotiated so we could rapidly make these acquisitions. We're going to change banks because we don't want them, but that's what we're going to tell them. So we want to build a relationship so we could go on the rapid course of acquisition and really knock out a deal every 2 months on average. And you'll have a customer at the end of the day with a very high cap value and a public company. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Stamped. Approved. Okay.
What?
No. Okay.
Approve?
Well, first of all, it was difficult for me to follow all the gibberish the way you had it written there. I listened to the words. I didn't watch your hands pointing to the numbers because and when you give it in there, write it down again more neatly because and a lot of times and I'm famous for this is that I'm a stream of thought presenter and I write things down a stream of thought that don't necessarily look logical, but when my eyes were closed and I wasn't looking at the numbers and I was listening to your voice and the presentation, the only exception I would make is when you talk about the equity piece and you're going to give the seller the alternative of either rolling the equity into the holding company as equity, but then you said alternative or paying him out. I dropped the paying out part out. Just you're going to roll it into the equity and just assume it's going to be equity. Okay. Don't say you may wind up doing some derivative thereof, but assume. It's just like if you don't ask, you don't get. You assume it's equity, and now that I've made Deb into a convert, I mean he makes it sound like it's his idea that this shit is equity, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. And now that I've made Marcus from years ago a convert. And Marcus, of course, doesn't say now how it was very difficult for him to grasp this thing as equity years ago when he was getting started. But of course, now he just and then once you've done a deal that you've rolled it into the holding company as equity, it's a piece of cake. Because when the bank 2, 3, 4, 5, the next bank, I mean ABC Bank, Bank of America, HSBC, I mean. And now you.
And thank you to Connor for grilling me before you came, so I reached this level of approval with his assistance and his.
Well, I mean, he's done a lot of presentations, okay, and he's listened to a lot of presentations, right? Okay.
Yep.
And no, it sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. What time is it?
Lunch.
Okay. 2:15 in 2:15 in the room, and just keep working through the deals.